fine. When we get to the part where we explain how Intando uses JHipster, that picture will help, but it's not critical.
Okay.
I can explain.
Hello, Joe. Thank you for joining and having a break from your lunch.
Thank you.
So we're gonna spend 10-15 minutes together, so we can chat about your work. So about Intando, explaining us how it works, how do you use JHipster, and what about your role here. So let's start maybe with telling us who you are. Sure. And your background. And
so my name is Joe White. I'm the CTO of Intando. I've been with Intando for about 2.5 years. My background, I come from a back-end development role, but I've kind of been in a leadership or executive role for a number of 5 or 6 or 7 years now. Most of my background is in technology around things like rules engines and microservices and Kubernetes and things like that. So I'm focused on the architecture at Intando, helping our customers succeed, and more recently working on our community and how we do community outreach, because Intando is an open source product as well.
Okay.
And so we're big believers in open source, and my focus right now is on growing our open source presence and the tools that we use like JHipster.
Okay. So could you tell a little bit more about the Intando product?
Sure. So Intando is a micro front-end platform for Kubernetes. And what that means is we give our customers an enterprise-ready stack to deliver front ends on Kubernetes, front ends and back ends on Kubernetes. And micro front ends are a new way to compose or assemble web applications where you build small reusable pieces of functionality and then put them together into a final application. So the end user experience is seamless, but you have the ability to kind of extend the value of microservices to the front end. So you do contract-driven development, you build very small pieces of functionality that you can put together in unique ways. And the goal is to allow your teams to move independently. So you can have small groups of people focused on a single part of a problem and then put it together into a larger application, just like you do with front ends. And then from a JHipster standpoint, we use JHipster as a development accelerator for developers who extend our application. So we have a lot of partners and users who add new capability, new things using Intando as a platform. And when they do that, they're using JHipster. And we have a JHipster blueprint. And our JHipster blueprint takes advantage of microservice generation. And then we've layered on micro front-end generation using React. And so we have a first version of that blueprint out that gives you the ability to create kind of a full stack micro front-end application with JHipster as the base.
Okay. And this blueprint, it's a custom one that you developed, and is it available open source also?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can get all of our blueprint is open source. We built it from scratch, and it's been great here to work with some of the team like Anthony and some of the other guys to learn a little bit about things we could do better or ways to improve our blueprint. But you can find it on our GitHub page, so github.com/Intando, and all of our code is out there, and the Intando blueprint is called Intando-blueprint, and it's built on, I think, JHipster 6.9 right now, and we're going to work on upgrading it to 7 when that's ready.
Okay. And so it's fully open source, so it's aimed to quite almost everyone out there, not only professional users, not professional clients, but also for personal projects and
yeah, absolutely. So Intando, the entire Intando platform is open source. Everything that we do is open source. And so our goal is really to get developers engaged in using the platform. So if you want to use Intando to build a Kubernetes native application using JHipster to add functionality, we have all of that out there. All of our documentation is at dev.intando.com, and that includes using the JHipster blueprint inside your Intando apps.
Okay. And so you're creating the blueprints beside the applicated functionality of JHipster to Intando. Are you contributing to the project from bug fixes or for portability to other technologies?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done a few small things inside the generator. We're still learning the core. There's a lot to learn there. But our focus, especially while I'm here, and our focus over the next few months, is going to be contributing to the Quarkus blueprint in particular.
Okay.
So we see a lot of opportunity in Quarkus to build really, really fast, lightweight Java microservices. And there's a JHipster contributor who started the blueprint, the Quarkus blueprint, needs some help. And so we're going to join him. His name is Daniel Petizme. And we're going to join Daniel and start to add functionality and work towards a 1.0 release of the Quarkus blueprint. So here at the conference today, I'm working on the Quarkus blueprint, adding some new functionality, fixing bugs, building a roadmap to 1.0. And so yeah, I expect we're going to continue to contribute to the core. As I mentioned, I've created a few pull requests. Some of my team have created some simple pull requests against JHipster core, and I hope that we can continue to contribute on 7 in general. But our focus really, especially, is going to be on what we can do with Quarkus and microprofile and kind of the next generation of Java microservices.
So yeah, as you were saying, the Quarkus, so it's the track you're leading today,
Yep.
If I'm not wrong. What are the objectives for this day to perform, to complete? I don't know, is it a fresh start as for today, or has it already begun before the JHipster code?
Yeah, it was already started, and so there are a couple of kind of beta releases of the blueprint before today. The goal today really is to get some people engaged with it, start to understand what it means to build Quarkus as opposed to a Spring Boot and next generation technologies. Do some testing, find some bugs, fix a few small bugs. My goal today and through the rest of this week, even after JHipster code, is to really understand a roadmap from today to a 1.0 release, so a fully featured Quarkus blueprint release that we can put out into the community and make available for developers. So this morning I've created a couple pull requests. I've opened more tickets than I have fixed, which is normal, I think. So opening new issues, creating new things. And if anybody out there watching wants to join, happy to help people get booted up on Quarkus in general. Learn what it is to build Quarkus applications and Quarkus microservices, and also on the blueprint. So yeah, the focus today really is just kind of figuring out where we're at, getting everything open, fixing a few things, creating some pull requests, and learning from some of the other sessions as well.
That's quite a planning for
Yeah.
for you. Okay. So JHipster, you were saying that you used it as an accelerator. What are the main benefits you're taking from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So from an enterprise standpoint, so as I mentioned, our goal when we go talk to customers and when we talk to people who use our platform, one of the messages we take them is about standardization of technology and making sure that when a developer starts building something, what they build is going to fit into what you do as a company or what you do as a team. Because with all the technology and differences out there, there are a million ways to start a new application. And for a given company or a given enterprise, probably most of them are wrong. And so you want your developers to have a starting point that both accelerates them, but also ensures what they build is going to fit into your environment. And one of the things that JHipster really brings us is that standardization on the microservice side, because we have the ability to encode our customers' rules into a blueprint and then say, when you give this to a partner or to a system integrator or to somebody outside your company, you know for sure that their starting point matches what you do as a company, and it's going to deploy into your Kubernetes. It's going to deploy into your environment. It's going to follow your rules. It's going to have your code style. And so the big message we take to customers around JHipster and around the blueprint is standardize what you do and then encode it in a template so it's automatic. So beyond acceleration, we really think the standardization and the ability to encode your business rules into a piece of software is really, really powerful and something that can accelerate all the way out to production, not just in the development phase. It gets you to production faster and it gets you to production with confidence.
Okay.
Sorry, John, we have the picture you give us to show live if you want to comment it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can display it to our chat, so if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, let me know when it's up, or can I come over there?
It's okay, it's up, you can comment it.
Oh yeah, but can we see it maybe on the screen or somewhere?
On the left-hand side of the picture, so this is just a general picture of kind of the developer flow using the Intando blueprint. So on the left-hand side of the picture, you have the base Intando blueprint and you have JHipster. So at this point, a developer has installed their Intando application out on their Kubernetes cluster. And if you go to our documentation, it'll walk you through installing a cluster. So over there on the left, what we call the Intando component generator, which is really just a way to build things like small modular pieces, whether microservices or micro front ends. We use JHipster plus the blueprint to do that. And that generates Intando components. And again, that's talking about micro front ends and microservices. And these are standard Spring Boot microservices today. And in the future, there'll also be Quarkus as an option. And then React-based micro front ends. And then at the bottom, you can see Intando has a rich CMS system. You also have the ability to create CMS content inside of this. That all gets deployed to standard resources. So one of our goals with Intando is to kind of use the tools that developers already know to assemble these applications. So using things like Keycloak, Git, Docker, everything that's really common to the infrastructure and architecture that you already are familiar with. And then you have the ability to generate what we call an Intando bundle. An Intando bundle is a wrapper set of metadata. It's a YAML file that describes a set of functionality as a package. So you can define a full stack application as an Intando bundle. And then the Intando operator, which isn't pictured here, will take that bundle and automatically install it into your Kubernetes environment. So for example, our operator will download a Docker image that you've created from your JHipster service and automatically deploy it into Kubernetes and then wire it back together into your application and also create all of the routing and ingress and security and clients and roles that you need to protect your microservice. So we provide a lot of wrapper automation around what you generate from JHipster. And so our goal is to use those standard tools like Spring Boot, like Quarkus, like React, like Git, like Docker, and then wrap them in an enterprise-ready package. And then the last goal with JHipster is really to allow reusability. So how do you build something that represents a domain? So that domain might be a user, it might be something that represents a conference, it might be something that represents something specific to your business. And you can reuse those components because you deploy them into a standard component repository. And the component repository takes advantage of Kubernetes APIs to allow you to very quickly reuse those services, reuse those front ends across applications. And then when your developers are ready to customize it, they have the ability to download that from Git, make their changes, and then rebuild their applications.
So it's like short kernel automated, or it's another pattern of type here?
I didn't catch the second part.
It's like you automated the way to have short kernels, if we're talking about domain and bounded context, I think. Or is it another pattern at play here? It's more like there's just microservices and micro frontend, and you don't enforce any strategic pattern for communication.
So we do enforce some communication strategies. So we provide a composition layer. So all micro front-end architectures need a composition layer where you take the little pieces and put them together into something that renders the final application. And what we do from a communication standpoint, we take advantage really of what Kubernetes does from a routing and ingress perspective. And so when your microservice is deployed into an Intando cluster, we automatically create the ingress for it, and then we automatically wire the micro front end to the ingress for the microservices. So if you're a micro front end, if you're a front end guy, and you want to make an API call, you don't need to know anything about the underlying infrastructure. You can make a loyalty path call, you can call /dash, my-app, and that will automatically get connected to your running microservice because we can take advantage of what Kubernetes does at the network layer to connect all of that traffic.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so you're working on Quarkus, so you have a vision out of it. Let's say we have a lot of guys from the community here. What would you like to have next in JHipster that would ease your work on day-to-day basis, or what is missing from your point of view?
I think one of the big things that we need to think about as a community and JHipster needs to think about is like the structure of building a blueprint and what it means to build a blueprint. Because right now, some of the functionality you need access to in a blueprint can be a little bit tricky to understand. It can be difficult to find. I think we could derive a lot more interface-driven approach into the blueprint development process. So I think as we look forward, the ability to accelerate blueprint development and really promote blueprint development as a way to extend what JHipster does could be really powerful. I talked about how we talk to enterprises about standardizing their approach. That's all about creating blueprints. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to grow the way blueprints work and to extend more functionality into the blueprint space. And I've talked to some of the team about that here, and we've looked at what we did at Intando, what other people have done with blueprints. And I think there's room to make that a lot easier and a lot faster.
Okay, thank you. Maybe one last question from my end. You're sponsoring JHipster. What does it mean to be a sponsor, and what does it bring you, and why to become a sponsor?
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
we could enhance or give the idea to some guys out there, other companies or others to contribute.
So Intando is a gold sponsor of JHipster, as you mentioned. That's relatively new. And for us, we're an open source company. So I believe in my heart, and Intando as a company believes in the power of open source and the value that it gives not only to open source communities, but ultimately to customers, because it gives you, a much richer, more dynamic experience. It's something that can move faster, move independently. And so for us sponsoring JHipster, it's about connecting with a really, really rich and vibrant community. So as I mentioned, one of our focuses at Entondo is growing our community. Yeah. And one of the communities that we admire a lot is the JHipster community. Hundreds of thousands of downloads every month, hundreds of contributors, people adding new code all the time, innovative stuff like the Quarkus blueprint, like the Micronaut stuff, stuff that's happening with JHipster 7. And so for us, the ability to sponsor that and have a piece of that community and be involved in that community is really important. And it's bringing us a tremendous amount of value. It gives us the ability to get Entondo in front of people who might not otherwise see it, and to kind of show JHipster in a little bit different light that's packaged a little bit more for the enterprise. And that's really our focus. So if it's been really valuable for us, the ability to learn from the JHipster community and to get involved with that, it brings a lot of value in a very quick way. So yeah, for us, it's all about community and continuing to support best of breed in open source. So
thank you. That's all from my end. If you have a final word you want to say.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, Entondo's open source. Check us out. Go to dev.entondo.org. Try the getting started, connect with our community, join us on Slack. And if you want to contribute to JHipster, come out to the JHipster Quarkus blueprint. We'd be happy to help you. And looking forward with connecting with you all guys.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. And so we are back on stream. See, hello chat. We have a little schedule problem. They just bring the dessert, and we didn't get any. So this is a problem.
We are hungry also.
And we are hungry also, but not thirsty, and that's a good point. The wine was pretty good. So little break. We get back our participants. We grab some dessert.
Yes.
4 or 5 minutes max, and we'll be back soon.
Let's do it.